feeling like it's going to be a productive day, creator willing, inshallah. I have a long drive, so I decided to talk to y'all. One of the things that bothers me, and this is primarily, I'm talking to everyone, but I'm sure you've known by now, I'm documenting this whole process, mostly for my descendants, because someday they will be coming to see what happened to their father, their grandfather, their great-great-great-grandfather or uncle, or coming to find out about their grandmother. And when they do, we would tell our own story. Okay? That's how I rock. I don't like people trying to tell about me. You don't know. You don't know me. You don't know my experience. You don't know my children and their experience. You don't know our lives together or any of that kind of stuff. And it's reciprocated. I don't know yours. So, that's my point for making these videos. But if you're familiar with my own personal channels or anything I've done through Beyond Clouds, I'm really about educating people. Hey y'all, this is what I found out. What you find out? Let's compare. Let's see how we can make a difference or make, positive changes or whatever the case is. And so that's what this is about right now. But it is primarily for people who are going through what I'm going through right now and fighting for justice for your child. One of the things that has annoyed me in almost a year and a half of this are the people who seem to me, because it's happened so many times, the people who to me seem to be very passive aggressive and low key trying to tell me, oh girl, you need to just have faith and let God handle this. And it's from non-Muslims and Muslims alike. Not realizing that the mere fact that they're telling me this is not a reflection of my faith, it's a reflection of their faith. So they are literally telling me, okay, don't have too much hope in this. You doing too much. You supposed to sit there, go ahead and grieve for a month, then keep moving. This is what God said was going to happen. Like all these kind of little things that they say. I, number one, don't believe in a God. I've said this a gazillion times. I know most people look at Allah and God as being synonymous. I do not. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, I truly believe that Creator can and does do all things. So, and thirdly, I do not believe that it is a criteria of Muslim people or just of people of faith, period, or of spirituality, whatever it is that you want to, how you want to refer to it. I don't believe that it is part of the criteria that we're supposed to be weak or meek, equating to passivity. That ain't what I got from the lesson. And so, I was just listening to a video. It's just like a video snippet by Ustad teacher Numan Ali Khan. He's one of the people I listen to a lot, especially when it comes to Quranic tafsir, because he is one of them. Also, like Dr. Shabir Ali, like other different, people. I enjoy listening to him, and I regard their information as nasiha, as like actual knowledge, because they do not seem to me to be biased. So often these people, they teach, but it's very clear that they are greatly injecting their own biases, their own desires for what they want you to do. So they are using or attempting to use Allah and Dinul Islam to get people to do what it is they want them to do. They don't stick to the Quran. They, you know how in some translations of the Quran, it'll have the translation, but then the whole, like this much would be the translation, but all the way down the page, they have in parentheses and brackets and everything, all these other things that are not actually there. It's what they believe from, their region of the world or their culture or whatever the case is. And so they try to, put this stuff onto you and have you regard it as the word of the Creator when it is not. And so I was watching this video with No ONE, and the question was actually asking, why do Muslims commit suicide? And it was about sabr, which is translated as patience. And he was saying that people severely misinterpret what sabr is. Muslims in regard to the word and their particular understanding, like the typical or the going understanding of it, but also non-Muslims, that whole patient, or just wait, Jesus gonna take care of it, or God is gonna take care of it. You don't have to do nothing but just pray. You know what I mean? But so No ONE, he says he's not a scholar or anything like that. He's a teacher, but this brother is serious with the tafsir, with the like the explanations of the Quranic chapters and verses. And so he was saying that people don't actually understand what sabr means, that people regard sabr as being passive. Oh, as I said, you don't do anything, you just pray. And he was saying that, he said that in the Quran does not regard sabr as passive. It regards sabr as an action. You dig? This is why I'm Muslim. I don't understand this other stuff that people be coming with. I don't get that. And I never have. I've always been Muslim at different levels of, doing, but my faith in Allah Ta'ala has never wavered. I've always Allah. I've never gone to anyone or anything for anyone or anything. No white man, no white woman, no black man, no black woman, no ancestor, no none of that. No talisman. I don't mean the Creator. That's it. And so when people say these things to me, that, what they'll say is, well, sis, you might not see justice here, but when they die, Allah gonna take care of it. Things like that. Or, just pray about it. I'm looking for a wife, right? Tacky dudes. Or any gamut of things in those terms, those ways. And so again, what I really would like to say to the people today is, don't listen to them. Here's the thing, and I'm really having a really hard time grasping it, I'm realizing, because it's a concept that I just don't get personally, but the reality seems to be that the vast majority of people would never, ever, ever, ever fight for their own children. They may do some, like, corny, ignorant type. They might go to the school and cuss out the teacher because their son keep failing it, his test or his homework, but it's because he's not applying himself. It's not the teacher's fault, but they'll go and, cuss out a teacher or cuss out this person, or be outside in the street fighting a neighbor because, he said something foul to your kid, or stuff like that. But fights that really actually mean something, fights that really actually will bring about a change and give your child who was, murdered in, disregard, who would, fighting that will give your child a legacy, or, cement their legacy. Fighting that will not give power to evil. And fighting that will say, no, that's not the end of the story. You will not murder my child and then get to just move on. You going with your life, having a merry old time. Wow. If anybody ever looks up anything about my child, it's just, oh, they were murdered. No. You do not have to sit and be cowards like the vast majority of people are. And I'm talking about people who, I'm not talking about only people who, don't like you or any. I'm talking about people who actually feel like they love you and have been in your corner in other instances or any of that sort of thing. Doesn't matter. They just don't get it. And also other people who may have had children murdered, they will not get you fighting tooth and nail for yours. It's okay. Let them go ahead. But you don't stop fighting. If that is what you want to do, you probably will get knocked down a whole lot of times. So what? Get up. I think about people who I've seen on TV. Of course, everybody know I've always had sort of reverence for Mamie Till Mobley, Emmett Till's mom, since I learned about her when I was a child. But I think about other people. Like, I remember about maybe 7 or so years ago, if that long, this Latino boy over in New York was misidentified by these boys, this gang or whatever, and they hacked him in the street. They drug him out of a bodega. They hacked him with machetes and everything and murdered that poor baby. He was like 15 years old. And there was several guys jumping on him, And his mother, I don't even think she spoke English very well. His mother fought for him and got those boys put in prison. That, to me, I gain power from other people. So I see things like that and I'm like, oh, she could do it. We're talking about vicious people who could have easily come and drug her out of her house and done the same thing to her. But she fought. This is what I'm talking about. This is what people do not get. People are not willing to sacrifice, to put their own lives on the line for anything, not even their own children. And I say to you, Let them be cowards over there in the corner. Let them be cowards. You stand up. If that is what you want to do, you stand up. If you don't know what it is you're doing, you stand up. And you do what you need to do. Yes, our children are extensions to us physically, genetically, and atomically. But also, the other thing that I don't think gets talked about, our children are also our investments. So not only have our children, our hearts, been ripped out and basically hacked away, like those guys with those machetes, but they are also our investments. Decades long sometimes. Investments that we put our blood, sweat, and tears into. Sacrificed our own desires and needs. And, you know, all sorts of things. Education, stayed in situations just to make sure things would be better for them. All sorts of things. They are our investments. So not only are our children, our loves, ripped away from us, our futures have been ripped away from us. And I say, damn that. You don't sit back and just allow that to happen. You stand up and you fight. You stand up and fight like you will stand up and fight some white chick who will come up in your face and call you a nigga or something like that. That's how you fight, but even harder. When somebody says something to you, or step on your sneaker, or try to kick it with your girl, or cheat with your man or something like, do you say, oh, I'm gonna just sit back and pray to God and let God deal with it? No. You be out there with your wig off, your shoes off, hands in the business. You be calling up your boys, yo, I need a gun. You handle your business. So why not for your children? Why not for your children? We have such a slave mentality, such an oppressor mentality. In my particular situation, I can't tell you how many times also people have said to me, with my, you know, my particular situation being that this is a Native American, you know, thing that I have to fight. And so I can't tell you how many people come to me and say, well, you know, maybe they're not doing anything because, you know, white people done all this stuff to them, you know. And I'm saying, like, I don't really know how you ain't figured that out, basically. But my thing is, as I've said before, one, so what? My son was scared too when he was up there fighting for them tooth and nail. And in fact, he was murdered less than 24 hours after he traveled, what, like 3 to 5 hours or so, trying to help them, their situation. Furthermore, white people do stuff to everybody all over the world. You know, does he want to get by? Is that what he's saying? I don't know what that means. You know, white people have done dirt to everybody all over the world. Native Americans are not. I know y'all don't like to hear this because, again, we just follow what we're told to follow and believe what we're told to believe. Native Americans are not unique to white people being hellish to them, okay? Let's get that straight. You think what Native Americans have gone through here is any different than what happened over in Japan with the atomic bomb? Native American pain and horrors and traumas of which my family, my people have experienced. And so it's very much a part of my own DNA. But it does not make us unique to anyone else. Native American pain is no more important than anyone else's. Like, stop. I know it is this whole thing that people are recognizing Native American pain more, but it doesn't make it more important. So Stop with that narrative, please. Furthermore, the people who murdered my son were not white. They're natives. So that narrative does not fit. That suggestion does not fit. But people will come with all these things to knock you off your mission because they wouldn't do it. And really, I think a lot of times people feel like, what audacity do you have to think that you can do this? I've experienced that my entire life. And people who have actually known me my life can vouch for it. There's always been this sense because I've always just done what I thought was best, and oftentimes it went against the mainstream thought. And eventually, a lot of it became more mainstream, but I've always stood up and said, nah, especially when it came to my children. No, I don't think that's the good way. I'm not sending my children to who I believe are the enemies to educate my children. I just put my own stuff on the line and I'll do it myself. Things like that. I'm on my last child now. This is her senior year. So I've been doing this for nearly 30 years. Stuff like that. And in the beginning, people were like making the threats, call it deficits and all this kind of stuff, calling the, white man on you and all that kind of thing. So what? I did it anyway. Fear is what you make of it. As my son said, anybody can scare me, nobody can intimidate me. And I offer you that same bit of knowledge from Marie to Two Clouds. Anyone can scare you. Don't let anybody intimidate you. You stand up and you fight. Fight to the end for your child. And don't worry about people who will never fight for their own children. They'll just never get you. And it's okay.